Welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. And today is a special day, everyone. It is a special day. I got my man with me, Dr. Rob Gilbert, and the book is out, The Success Hotline, the Magic Acronyms, Formulas, and Impactful Stories of Leadership. A tribute to my man right here, to the amazing Dr. Gilbert and the Success Hotline. Good afternoon, Doc.
Am I wearing the right hat? Huh?
I thought you might wear your Boston Latin hat, but that hat looking pretty good.
I threw out my Boston Latin hat. This is the only hat I wear from now on.
Well, I got a shirt for you. I know you like Muhammad Ali. This is from the Muhammad Ali Museum.
Yeah.
Be great and do great things. And Doc, you have done a great thing here. The hotline is an incredible inspiration for so many since 1992. And here we are to celebrate you, the hotline, and all the people you've kind of helped along the way here. So how about a round of applause for you?
Yeah, there's a bigger crowd than I thought.
Oh, yeah. We got people coming.
Well,
sure.
I got a call this morning, and he said, you took my breath away in your message. I said, what are you talking about? He said, that book is going to be in your casket. I said, that book is going to be in my casket. He said, I've never heard, he said, I hope Mr. Marauder appreciates that he did something that's going to be with me forever.
I absolutely did. You said that, you've emailed it, and you said it on the hotline, and we heard that yesterday.
Here's the deal. Here's what's going to be in my casket. Okay. My wrestling shoes, my tap dance shoes, and your book. Okay. So, did you know that when we had a hurricane about a little before COVID, do you know I lost $72,000 worth of books?
I did not know that. No.
Well, here's the takeaway from today's session. If you're ever going to rent a storage unit, do not rent it on the first floor. It's on the first floor. When I did Bits and Pieces magazine, I was buying $10,000 to $12,000 of books a year. Now,
Wow.
This is really before the internet was up and running, so I had to get a lot of information. And all these books were in a storage unit, so none of those books, none of my books at school, none of my books here. I mean, anybody that comes into my apartment, they say, "What is this? A library?" One person came into my apartment a few years ago, and she looked around and said, "You read?"
Friends,
and from the bottom of my heart, I mean, my sister knows that book is in my casket, right on my heart. So I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you doing this, because when you look at that book, that was the work of one person. That was not a committee. That was not a team effort. No matter what Andrew says, it wasn't the team effort. He did the whole book. And Andrew has a dog, has a wife, has kids, has a job, is traveling all over the country, knows everything about everything, does podcasts. He's the busiest person I know. And to take time out to do this book, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it.
Well, take time out, Doc. It's every day. The hotline's every day. It was always in front of me. It was always hearing it and listening to it. And it wasn't just me. A lot of our friends, hotline callers, are joining us today, people who've written in the book. We have a lineup of over 10 people that are going to join us to say hello. And if you are watching live on social media, on video, jump in the chat, say hello. Maybe you are a hotline caller as well. And we'd love to hear from you in the chat, and Doc and I can answer some questions. Doc, we certainly opened the book with kind of how you got started with the hotline, and you told the history the other day, just the other call. But along these years, since 1992, along these years, did you ever say, like, all right, I've been doing this 10 years. I've been doing this 20 years. I've been doing this 30 years. Like, did you ever say, like, all right, enough's enough? Did you ever think about stopping?
Well, let me give you part of one of my lectures. I'm a really good artist, so I'm going to draw a bridge, okay? So this is a bridge, okay? And on one side of the bridge is discipline, and on the other side of the bridge is desire. So I guarantee, you know how they say, if you go to the barber shop every day, eventually you're going to get a haircut. If you run every day, you discipline yourself to run every day, eventually you're going to like running. So, I mean, I knew I was going to do the message for 98 days for one class. I was going to leave a message and then guess what happens? I'm not saying I love doing messages every day, but after 98 days, it would hurt me not to do a message. It would be, it would I could never imagine hitting a pet. I mean, I could never imagine not doing a message. It's like, it's part of my DNA. And as you as an educator know, that one of the bad parts about education is the teachers and the professors get too many compliments. They get too many awards. They get too many pats on the back. As a matter of fact, I had to go to a chiropractor. I was getting so many pats on the back. Of course, what I'm saying is totally false. This is the truth. I get more compliments in one day of Success Hotline because after the message, people can leave me a beat. I get more thank yous in one day than I get in a whole year of teaching, except for a couple of semesters ago. So it's the last day of the spring semester, final exams. And, my last final exam was Friday, 8:00 in the morning. Who wants to take a final at 8:00 in the morning? So I felt bad for the kids. So I bought them bagels, cream cheese, and orange juice, So they're taking the test and, there's always somebody that stays longer than everybody else. So, and I'm thinking about this whole semester, nobody has thanked me for anything. So the one last kid leaves the room, and I'm thinking, I bet 1,000. Not one kid thanked me for anything. And this last kid who left came back in. He said, "Oh, Dr. Gilbert, thank you."
Oh,
thank you for the bagels.
Doc, there's a couple questions in the chat. Magic World John, yes, they are recorded. If you go on iTunes and type in Success Hotline, it's taken care of ironclad. Their logo is actually on the book here. There it is there. Just go to iTunes and type in Success Hotline, and all of the messages are there. Not since 1992, but certainly a lot of them. Hello, Chad Smith. Doc, before our first guest.
God, Chad Smith.
Before our first guest.
True superstars of Success Hotline.
There he is from Indiana.
Have Chad he has his own hotline.
Oh, Chad, put it in the chat there, Chad. We'll check it out.
What do I do?
I don't know on your end. I see mine on the side here, Doc. Mark Housel's in the chat there, and it should be somewhere on the side.
Okay.
And while he's looking for that, I wanted to share the first excerpt here. Be extreme. This was the first one here, Doc. And you said, you just turned your camera off, Doc. You say this a lot. It's the one word. It's the one thing. Tell me about your concept of extreme and why it's important to be extreme if you want to be out there making a positive impact on others.
Well, if Dr. John Dellett isn't on right now, I hope he's on going to watch the recording. And he used to be on the administration of Montclair State, and now he's moved on to bigger and better things. But we used to teach a freshman seminar class together, and one day he said something amazing. He said, "I can guarantee if you do this one thing, you are going to graduate." And what he said is, if you attend each and every class, I'm not saying you have to study. I'm not saying you have to buy the books. I'm not saying you have to do anything. Just go to each and every class. I will guarantee you graduate, because if you go to each and every class, eventually you're going to start studying. Eventually you're going to start buying the books. So it's just like we said before. If you show up at the barbershop every day, eventually you're going to get a haircut. If you go to the gym every day, eventually you're going to start working out. And this is extreme. I mean, it's extreme. Never, ever, ever miss a class, Never, ever, ever miss a workout. Never, ever, ever have an off day. Don't be clean on your diet. And this is not ordinary. I'm saying this is uber ordinary. This is extraordinary. And I say extraordinary is extreme. And I will guarantee if you look at the biography of any successful person, they're extreme. Now, they might not be extreme in every area of their life. I mean, Pete Rose was pretty extreme in baseball and gambling, but I'm sure he wasn't extreme in, brushing his teeth, But the whole thing is, that's what's so exciting, that if you do things other people won't do, you'll get things other people will never, ever get. And so you just look in the context of, I'm just going to be extreme. Now, one of the things I'm fascinated in, and I said the three things that are going to be in my casket are my wrestling shoes, my tap shoes, and Mr. Murata's book. I take 6 tap dancing lessons a week.
Wow.
I am 78 years old, and I am not the best tap dancer for a 78-year-old. I'm probably not even the top 10 million, but I don't think any 78-year-old spends more time tap dancing than I do. I know they don't spend more money than I do tap dancing because all my lessons are private lessons, but that's the whole thing. I think the greatest disease, the most harmful disease in our country, especially with young people, is called lose, L-O-S-E, lack of self-esteem. And that's what Mr. Murata is going around the country talking about. I just recently, Michael Smerconish is on CNN, and he had an incredible guest on yesterday. I don't remember his name, but he wrote a book called Notes on Being a Man. And it's about how 68% of the college students are female, Women are outperforming men in just about everything. What do you got? Lose.
There it is. It's in the book.
So lack of self-esteem. So like it or not, I mean, no matter how difficult my tap dance class is, when it's over, I feel better about myself. No matter, and I don't know if this is in the book. Do we talk about the pillow test?
The pillow test is not in the book.
Okay, so the pillow test. Every night you're going to take a test. You put your head on the pillow, and you're going to either consciously or unconsciously review the day, and you're going to say either I'm glad I did or I wish I had. I'm glad I went to tap class. I wish I had. I'm glad I went to all my classes today. I wish I had. I'm glad, I made that, foul on the Duke guy, or I wish I had.
Doc, I got to interrupt you. Our first guest is here. We're going to meet some friends from the book. All right? Can we have them join us?
Yeah. By the way, where can people purchase these hats?
Yeah, we got them here. Yeah. And friends, just before Russell Jones comes on, and Lynn Brum is going to talk about this, but part of the book also, too, there is an award in Dr. Gilbert's name at Montclair State. Here is the information here, and we'll put the link in the chat. Maybe if one of our friends is watching live, they could do that. And once Russell joins us, I'll put it in the chat, too. But there's the information. There is an award in Dr. Gilbert's name. We've already raised more than $50,000. I'm going to put this multiple times during the show, again, to continue to raise funds. And it's going to be for a colleague, a professor, a teacher there, a faculty member who is making a positive impact at Montclair. But Doc, Russ is here, and now my mouse isn't moving. There we go. Oh, sorry. We are going to get that out. And Russell, we are happy to welcome our first guest to the show. This is Russell Jones, South Carolina. Russell, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're all good with the sound? Yeah?
Yeah, we can hear you and see you, and certainly thrilled you participated in the book here. Russell wrote an excerpt, How to Become the World's Greatest Student. But Russell, before the excerpt, tell us how you got involved with the hotline.
I didn't. I preceded the hotline. Summer of 1979 was first time crossed paths with Dr. Gilbert at Montclair State College back then. And it was kind of became familial after a while. He had my sister in school and everything. And I had a real tragic accident that year, and I couldn't finish the courses I was taking. And so I kind of put school on the back burner. Anyway, 10 years later, or more than that, actually, 1991, I had this incredible experience where actually you can see it in the picture behind me, where I broke this big stack of bricks on stage. And it kind of gave me this idea that I wanted to go out and do public speaking. And at 39 years old, I decided that maybe I was called to be a strength athlete. I was an old basketball player, keyword being old. I had never done anything with strength in my life. And I said, well, if I'm going to put a talk together, I better go talk to Dr. Gilbert. So I found my way down to his palatial estate down in Belleville or Bloomfield. I don't remember which state, but one of those B places. And Doc said, well, it's all about the story. He said, you got to have a good story. And so we crafted some stories. And at the time, I was only able to do 2 strength feats, which if you're going to be a strongman, it's kind of limited. And so Doc said, well, there's this event over at the Downtown Athletic Club in New York City. And he said, you should probably go to it, the Holman Heisman Trophy. And I went there and I got introduced to this subculture of incredibly strong human beings, the Association of Old Time Barbell and Strongmen. And so anyway, as this was evolving, the strength stuff, in fact, when I was learning my strength stuff, I was actually able to teach Doc a few things. This was
you taught him about the cards.
I taught Doc how to tear a deck of cards. That was over a series of years because he let that little voice of self-doubt and negativity get into his head or into his hands because it hurt so much to do it. But we crafted the story, a series of stories, a presentation, and started out doing summer camps, and then it kept growing from there to schools and parents and writing books and everything else. And Doc was like the original guy, the original encourager for somebody that maybe had not done that well earlier in life, but he really helped me along the way, and I'm forever grateful for that. The second thing that Doc talked about, I don't know what phase of life, but he said,
"Can we just stay with the first thing?" Because Andrew, I think one of the themes is going to be like this book got written by one person, you know, and I really appreciate your kind words, Russell. But the most important thing I did for you was introduce you to one person. And who was that person?
I don't know.
Dennis
Who was
Rogers.
it, Dennis?
Of course.
You introduced me to Dennis? I don't even think
Well,
you were there.
I didn't introduce you, but you met him at the Old Time.
I know, but that's the third thing I was going to talk about.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So anyway, so the deal with the deal that we worked out with Doc for coaching me and speaking was, I think it was $1,000. I wrote a check for $1,000. He said, I'm going to put it up in my refrigerator, and when you make your first $1,000 as a speaker, then I'll cash the check. Until then, it's a team effort. Doc felt that, I mean, if he wasn't helping me enough, then, and I didn't earn any money, then whatever, I didn't have to pay him. And I forgot all about the check. I mean, we were doing shows and contracts, making money. And so a number of years later, I remember going down to his place, and I look up on the refrigerator, and there's a stack of checks up there. And I look through it, and there's my check. He never cashed the check.
Wow.
And, I hope he doesn't. It's probably still sitting on his refrigerator. But I'm a little light today, Doc, but don't cash the check. But anyway, it was all about the stories. The second thing that Doc talked about was, if you want to learn, you go to the person that is the expert in it, the best in it, right? And I was a fledgling strongman that had no foundation in strength whatsoever. And I called the 1956 Olympic gold medalist from the United States, the last heavyweight champion, arguably the strongest man that's ever lived. His name was Paul Anderson from Toccoa, Georgia. And I got, it took a number of phone calls to get him on the phone. And I'm not going to drag out the story, but I got Paul Anderson on the phone. Actually, I have it recorded. It's one of my precious things. And just getting to speak to him and hear what he had to share and the words of encouragement. And I'm not always from the Deep South, so to understand even what he was saying was interesting. But he was a good old boy, but he was extremely strong. So it was Paul Anderson, and then at the old time Barbell and Strongman Club. Actually, that's a caricature from my book, me and Dennis Rogers. Dennis Rogers is a grandmaster strongman, pound for pound one, unbelievably strong. And Dennis has come and, talked to Doc's classes and everything else. And he always asks me, how's Dr. Gilbert doing every time we talk on the phone and everything. So, Dennis Rogers he's still my mentor today. I mean, he actually just turned 72 years old. And this past year, we're visiting him down in Houston. And we're talking about Dr. Gilbert. And Dennis says, hey, when's the last time you bent a horseshoe to me? And I'm like, I don't think I ever bent a horseshoe, Dennis. And he goes, oh, come on out in the shed. So the next thing I know, I'm out in the shed. Doc, I was dying. I talk about the pain of bending and twisting a horseshoe. It was incredible. But here I am, 72. We're still doing it. So God bless him. The last thing is, and this is not about me. This is about my daughter. One of my daughters was an aspiring basketball star, and she, let's just say physically, she was limited in terms of her physical capability, but she had discipline. And Doc would challenge her periodically. He met her when she was in 6th grade, I think, for foul shooting. And so she got pretty good at it. And by 8th grade, this is awesome. This is an awesome family memory for people that are basketball crazy. My daughter followed Pete Maravich and Larry Bird, right? I mean, because Bird was supposed to be too slow and couldn't jump. Fit my daughter perfectly. So we go down to visit Dr. Gilbert. I had to stop there for something at, what's the name of the gym? Panzer Gym?
Panzer, yeah.
Yeah. So my daughter, she has been carrying a basketball with her for 2 years everywhere she goes. Right, sleeps with a basketball. We go on vacation. She's got a basketball. First thing she packs. This one particular day, she forgot her basketball. So we go into the gym, and we go downstairs. We see Doc, and we're talking, and he's saying, "Well, how's your shooting going?" So I said, "Well, she saw this thing by Michael Jordan was doing by shooting foul shots with his eyes closed. So she's been working on that." So Doc has another professor. And we come up into the gymnasium. There's a basketball underneath the bleachers, half deflated men's ball. So she's used to using a girl's ball, number one, and now it's a half deflated girl's ball. Doc says, I'm not going to say how much money it was, but it's a substantial amount of money. If you can make 5 of these in a row with your eyes closed, I'll give you X amount of money. And so my daughter said, okay. She said, can I have one warm up? Sure. She shoots the warm up and she misses. Ooh. Then closes her eyes. 1 foul shot. Yes. 2 foul shots. Yes. Every time she makes a shot, Doc and the other professor move closer to her. And they're talking loud. They're looking to make sure she's not peeking or anything like that. 4. Yes. The final shot, no lie. It's that a rings around in. And we're like going crazy. Doc's like unbelievable. I thought he was gonna, lose his breath or something like that. So we're walking away, and I'm all excited, the happy papa and everything else. We're walking away, and I look at Doc, and he reaches in his pocket. He pulls one of those things. He says, "Gee, I don't have the money on me." He said, "I'll write you a check." I said, "No worries, Doc. I know you." But anyway, it's just been an amazing time. Experience with Dr. Gilbert. I'm an old timer with it and everything else, but every day his passion for life and his optimism is just so infectious, I guess you could say. So thanks, Doc.
It is.
Well, thank you, Russell. And Andrew, Russell could do 40 minutes just on the Paul Anderson story.
Wow.
I mean, one of the most amazing athletic stories. I think it was a 1956 Olympic issue of Sports Illustrated. I think he won the gold medal wearing dress shoes, wasn't he?
I don't know if that. Actually, I had the picture up there.
There was some pictures of him that he used to wear leather shoes that he used to wear with a suit. I mean, because he couldn't get. But just the most amazing story of how Russell came across him, and this guy had no idea how strong he was, and how he became an Olympic champion, and how he started a school for or a retreat for boys or a school for boys, I
Paul
guess.
Anderson Youth Home. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's still going today. Paul's gone home to be with the Lord, but it's still going today. It's an
amazing story.
Yeah, cool.
Russell, we got a lot of friends joining. Just before you go, Russell Jones, a father of 4, granddad of 8, beautiful, created the Top Secrets of Success interactive video series for kids and parents, author of 2 best-selling books, Top Secrets of Success for Kids and Sick and Tired of Being Sick and Tired. Where can they find those, Russ? Where can people find your book?
Just come to my website and I'll direct you from there. Or you can go on Amazon, but RussellJonesSpeaks.com, everything's there. Yeah. Podcast. There's a podcast with Dr. Gilbert, actually.
Yeah. I gotta sneak one story in. I mean, I'm into extreme, I'm into peak performance. We're at the old time barbell and strongman, and Russell was literally running it after a few years. Well, every year they had people perform, and this year Russell was performing. Well, there's one problem. I don't know what you had. You had bronchitis. You were about to die. And one of his feats that he was to perform was to blow up a hot water bottle. Do you remember a hot water bottle, Andrew? They're thick. You put hot water and you put on your aching. So Russell, now he's in front of all of his peers. He's in front of Dennis. He's in front of Bruno Sammartino. He's in front of all the superstars. And he was dying, but he blew it up. He had burst. That was one of the most amazing athletic feats I've ever seen in my life. He wouldn't quit.
Yeah, I paid the price for that one, but it was when your peers are watching. Yeah. And Andrew, thanks for that call out. But it's 9 grandbabies and 1 on the way in December. So
whoa, beautiful, Russell. Thank you. We got some books coming in the mail to you. And certainly thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, Russell. That was wonderful.
I love you, Doc. Thanks,
love
man.
You, Russell. Take care.
All right. Russell Jones, everyone. Great stories. A lot of guests joining us, and Russell is one of them. Lynn is relatively new to us. This is Lynn Brum, and Lynn, his children has been in Doc's class. Is that correct, Lynn?
Yes, that's right. I'm not sure. Can you see me?
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay, so I don't know how I can change that.
It's okay. Well, welcome to the show, Lynn, and we appreciate it. And Lynn, Dr. Gilbert and I want to thank you for helping with this here. We had this concept to get this going, but Lynn was the brains behind the operation. Lynn, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Dr. Gilbert and certainly your background to help us get this award off the ground.
Well, how I got involved was I attended an orientation at Montclair State, and this was not last summer, but the summer before, with my daughter, who was interested in possibly attending. I had been working at Boston College for 10 years, working in fundraising for 30 years, have attended a lot of college level events. And I heard Dr. Gilbert speak at that orientation, and I was so impressed. He said he had his Success Hotline that he's been, making a message on for 33 years, and that any parent or student could call at any time. And so I started calling. And so my daughter enrolled, and I said, boy, Mackenzie, I really hope you get Dr. Gilbert. I think he'd be a great teacher. And lo and behold, she did get him right away. And at the end of her first class, I got a phone call from Dr. Rob and Mackenzie, and they were, all excited and enthused. And my daughter said that he was the best teacher that she's ever had and has changed her life through education. As we all know, education can do that. So I kept calling Dr. Gilbert, and we've developed a relationship through the phone calls. And my husband's a teacher, and so I feel like I know education and I know good teachers when I see them. And I thought, wow, there are so many thousands of callers that call his hotline that many don't have a relationship with Montclair State. And I thought Montclair State must be missing an opportunity to recognize a teacher who's taught there for, I think it was 45 years, 43 years, And there's this following that I think if people were invited to make a donation in his honor, that they would be really honored to and pleased. And so I called the university and I talked to Dr. Rob, and everybody was in favor of this. And so lo and behold, longtime callers and people within the university, we've gotten together and we've raised $55,346 to date. And people can still give to the fund. It will be awarded every year to a professor who is like-minded to Dr. Gilbert, who puts his students first, who inspires, and just brings out the best in the students. So we're forever marching forward. The award will be this year for the first time, and the principal will stay a part of the university forever, long after we're all gone. The Robert Ellis Gilbert Endowed Fund for Teaching, for Excellence in Teaching, will continue, and hopefully it will inspire and acknowledge teachers that teach in the same spirit that Dr. Gilbert does, because it makes a difference. And there's nothing more in our country that we need than excellent teachers. So you can give to the fund. It's in Andrew's book. There's a QR code there. You can go to the website at Montclair State, or there's an address there to make a donation. So please do. It's an honor, I think, to Dr. Gilbert and all that he has, the contributions he's made to so many people. And yeah, so that's it.
Well,
fantastic.
Let's talk about the most important thing. Andrew, you know what, when they say a car goes from 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds or something? You've heard that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Lynn's daughter has gone from 0 to 60 quicker than anybody. So a year ago, your daughter was hoping to photograph her boyfriend's ice hockey team, right?
Yeah.
What's she doing now?
Well, just about a month ago, she photographed her first NHL team, the Flyers.
Whoa!
So, yeah, she just feels so inspired academically and just pursuing her interests, and she's making it happen. And that's to Dr. Gilbert's credit. He's inspired her.
That's fantastic.
One of the things I was very, I'm very proud of the best teacher your daughter ever had. But did your daughter go to the same high school that your husband works at?
Yes, she did.
Do you have a class with him?
No, she didn't.
Oh, thank God.
And she would not say that he would be the best teacher. So actually, she doesn't pay much attention.
Say it. She'd have to say it. I mean, you know.
No, she she doesn't like to listen to her parents that well. So
yeah,
like any 19, 20-year-old, she wants to do it her way. So somehow you've inspired her to just dig deep and feel good about her learning, and it's really remarkable.
Yeah, well, she's doing great, and she's talented, and
awesome.
She's getting it done.
Lynn, thank you for your efforts behind the scenes, certainly making this happen, your expertise in fundraising. And again, all the information is here. It's in the back of the book. If you have the book in your hand right now, it is in the back of the book. It's going to be ongoing. And Lynn, we can't thank you enough.
We got to have a takeaway, okay? So
have at it.
Hopefully a lot of people, you're listening to this for the same reason you listen to Success Hotline. It's for your own betterment. And Lynn taught me this. If you want people to contribute to your fund, you have to do something incredibly important. You want to guess what it is, Andrew?
You've been doing a hotline for 12,800 messages in a row?
No. What do you have to do to get people to contribute to your fund, to any fund?
Ask them.
You have to ask them. You know, you can send out all the emails. You could do it. You have to directly ask them. And Lynn, you know, you're talking about, you approached some pretty big donors at Boston College. And is it true that they wouldn't have contributed unless you made that call?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, the thing is that we've had donors, hundreds of donors contribute to this fund. And people have given $10. Someone gave $10,000. But every donation makes a difference, and we all collectively are getting there together. People have good intentions. It's just you really have to make it, give them an opportunity, and they're happy to give. And by Andrew putting it in your book and Montclair's support of this as well, we're making it easy for everybody. And so many people, if asked, would give to this. So it was just a matter of me, someone who has some fundraising experience, to kind of set it up, because there's so many people that have, you know, appreciation for what you do, Dr. Gilbert. And so it's, you know, it's really great because you are so selfless and generous with your spirit and your energy that, you know, we all want to acknowledge that. And, you know, how better way to do it than have your legacy live on, and to have you acknowledged while you're here, so we can tell you face to face.
The last couple of sentences you said cut out. Could you repeat those, please? No, Lynn, I really, really appreciate that. But Lynn, here's a story I haven't told you because it happened this morning. I'm speaking to a hotline caller this morning, and he said, I'm getting all this stuff from Montclair. I said, I'm getting a Montclair pin. I'm getting invited to these things around Christmas. He said, and he doesn't live in the state. And I know I know him. I said, well, I didn't see your name on the contribution list. He said, no, I don't want to be acknowledged. He said, I did give $5,000.
Wow.
And I said, you contributed $5,000 anonymously? He said, yeah. He said, don't you ever tell anybody who did it. And I said, wow. So first of all, to be anonymous. Second of all, if I contributed $5,000, I'd want it to be on the Empire State Building. You know? So Lynn, you know, the book wouldn't have happened without Andrew. The fund would not have happened without you. And it's an endowed fund, meaning we needed over $50,000 for it to be permanent. So 100 years from now, they'll be still giving an award based on the interest. And Lynn made it all happen, Lynn. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynn. We'll see you soon.
Okay, you bet, guys.
Lynn Brom, everybody. Lynn Brom. Thank you so much, Lynn. To all of our guests, sorry, we are a couple minutes behind. That's okay. Doc, how you doing so far? You doing okay?
It sounds like the applause is getting louder. There's a crowd.
I mean, people are happy. I mean, there's a lot of people.
These people are very, very nice. I mean, very, very nice.
If you're in the chat, friends, you're watching, jump in the chat, say hello. Let us know if you are a caller. Let us know where you're coming from, and certainly say hello to Doc.
Is Bobby there yet?
I haven't heard from Bobby. Your buddy Lise is watching. Again, Chad, follow Chad's hotline on YouTube from @Chad. But let's get the New Jersey Teacher of the Year here. Mark is next with us up here. Mark Housel, New Jersey. And we're going to get Mark into the show. I just want to double check. Yeah, Mark, you're up next. Big time author himself. Mark Housel, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you. I don't know where to be. I'm like, where should I be here?
We'll get you. We'll get you somewhere here, Mark. There you are. Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you. Hey, Doc, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wouldn't miss this.
Mark Housel, New Jersey State Teacher of the Year, PE Teacher of the Year, has presented with Doc. Mark, so nice to have you on, and Mark's contribution into the book, The Three Frogs. Mark, tell us about your excerpt. Oh, look at that. Tell us about that and what made you choose that Dr. Gilbert story.
You know, that one just hit so home with me. You know, it's just and it's never just anything, as Dr. Gilbert would say. It's all important. But that one hit home with me. So I'll just throw it out there. You ready, Doc?
Mhm.
3 frogs sat on a log. 1 decided to jump off. How many are left and why? That's your turn, Doc. You go ahead. How many are left?
Well, I know you give a lot of speeches. So when you're giving speeches, how do people react to that riddle?
I love why I haven't, show me with your fingers. And
Yeah.
a lot of times people have these elaborate guesses, they're like, oh, well, it's 2 or it's 3 because they didn't go anywhere. And every now and then you'll hear somebody way in the back say, oh no, it's 3 because, and then they give the correct answer. The difference between deciding to do anything in life and doing it is it's completely different, and until we take action, we're going to be sitting there with the 3 frogs on the log. And, being a part of the Success Hotline has been such a life changer for me. I saw a speech on YouTube the other day, and they said, well, some people are a spotlight and some people are a lighthouse. And the spotlight people are the people that shine the light on themselves. And they talk about how great they are and all the things that they've done and all the things that they've accomplished. But then you have those special people that they're the lighthouse. They're the lighthouse. They shine the light on everybody else. And that's what you do, Dr. Gilbert. That's what you do, my friend.
That's beautiful there, Mark. Friends, Mark Housel is the owner of Housel Fun and Fitness, retired in 2020, New Jersey Physical Education Teacher of the Year, and the author of What Kind of Teacher Do You Want to Be? Mark is an energizing, motivational, fit, and fun educator who has influenced countless students and now teachers by inspiring them with his positive and contagious energy. Mark, where did you hear or learn about the hotline?
Well, I was at the greatest PE conference in the country, maybe the world, at the New Jersey Lake Conference. And I'm impartial because I helped run it, but it is an unbelievable conference. And my friend, Craig Mahler, he's a Ridgewood guy, and you'll see he's actually a Jim Stroker mentee, I should say. Who's another Ridgewood guy who'll be on here in a second, who's going to light this whole show up, as you know. And so it was the perfect timing. I heard about it. He's a good friend of mine, Craig. So I go home and I check it out. And at this moment in my life, I wasn't overly pleased with me and how I was doing. And even, being a teacher at that point, I was frustrated. I was, Dr. Gilbert talks about sometimes the worst things are the best things. I had been doing a little. You saying, or were you wiping your thing off there? Anyway, I just wasn't happy with a lot of things, and I started calling the Success Hotline, and it completely changed my life. And I just all these messages of success, and success leaves clues, and you surround yourself with amazing people, and amazing things are going to happen. And I use that quote all the time. You hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. You hang around with amazing people like Andrew Murata and Dr. Rob Gilbert, and amazing things are going to happen for you. There's no other way to go but up.
Mark, tell about your mentor in terms of physical education, the guy that you hang around with, the guy that you've learned so much from.
Well, I had 2 people show up at William Patterson University. One was John Smith and one was Chip Candy, and they were both National PE Teachers of the Year at the time. And with Chip especially, and they both, Greg Montgomery, have always showed us New Jersey PE teachers the way, like the lighthouse I was talking about before. But Chip Candy, I was like his stalker. Anywhere he would do a workshop, I would go to. And then what happened was, we started to become friends. And one day I was driving and I saw him, and I was like, I almost crashed my car because it was like seeing a rock star. I'm like, there's Chip Candy. And so what I found out is he and I live less than a half mile away. So we went from me being a stalker to a fan to a friend to we're walking buddies now. So you want to talk success leaves clues. I'm getting better. You know, he and I are walking one time a week, and I'm getting better as a presenter, as a teacher, and of course as a human. You know, because how could you not when you're doing these kind of things?
Awesome. Mark, this is Mark Housel, friends. Mark, I just put your book in the chat there. So nice of you to contribute, and good luck with all the presentations you're doing. Mark, just in a couple minutes here, you quoted Gilbertism 4 or 5 times.
I can't talk to somebody for more than 5 minutes without quoting Dr. Gilbert. If I showed up somewhere, right, Dr. Gilbert, to do a workshop, and they said, "Hey, you can't mention any Dr. Gilbertisms," I'd be like, "I'm sorry, I'm just going to stay here in Jersey. I can't come."
Wow, Mark, I know you have a website too. Where can they find more information about you?
It's Housel, Housel fitness.com.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you. And Doc, it's got to feel good hearing all these people. I mean, how many people have said you've changed their life already? I mean,
well, it's kind of a little overwhelming. I mean, the thing, if you notice, and I will guarantee that everybody that's going to be on this podcast today, the common denominator is energy. You know, it's all energy. A lot of the people are professional speakers. You can't be a professional speaker without energy. And Lynn has it. Russell has it. Mark has it. Andrew has it. That's the thing, energy. And that's what we have to give away. And all of, you know, you see these kids in school, it's like the weight of the world's on their shoulders. I mean, we got to energize them. And I know that you're going around the country doing that. Both of you guys are going around the country doing that. So we have a big job to do. It doesn't seem like anybody else is doing it, and we got to get it done.
Well, you are leading the way. Mark, thank you, my friend, for jumping in a few minutes here. Good luck with all that you're doing, and thanks for the contribution to the book.
Honored to be part of it, Andrew. I can't thank you enough. And Dr. Gilbert, like I said, honored to be a part of it with you too, my friend.
Okay, thank you so much.
Got some more copies coming in the mail to you, Mark, and check him out, Mark, houselfitness.com, and his book is in the chat. If you're a teacher, definitely check him out there. So this is fun, Doc. We're meeting a lot of your people, and some of these people you just met, but the next guest you know for a long time. I mean, you go way back. And it's been really nice for me to meet some of your friends, like people you grew up with. And here is Doug Cooney coming to us, one of your best friends, longtime friend. Doug, welcome to the program.
Hey, great to see you guys. Nice to be here. And I have a video on is this CBS or NBC?
Well, I see your NBC hat there, and so many stories, so many memories with Dr.
I want to hear
Gilbert.
an amazing story, maybe the most amazing story of anybody that's going to be on. Doug was an Olympic weightlifter, and a really, really good Olympic weightlifter, but he made a moral decision. He refused to take drugs. He refused to take steroids. So nobody gets to the Olympics without taking steroids, but Doug did. Totally uneducated, totally inexperienced. He became the Olympic announcer, both the broadcaster and the color person in Olympic weightlifting. And he did this by the most incredible strategies you will ever come across. Just the most amazing story. If he did this, anybody could do anything.
Amazing. You two go way back. When did you guys met at UMass? Is that right?
So we met at UMass 50 years ago. We were built in an orientation program where the students signed up for a few days to pick the course and figure out how they survive college. And Rob and I were counselors at what's called summer orientation. We became friends out of that. The next year, Rob and I were talking, and we said, the Olympics are in Montreal. And I said, Rob, I got a boatload of tickets. Let's go. So we drove up, spent 50 days in Montreal. And we were roommates at the Olympics, as I often tell people, and they think, oh, were you in the Olympics? I said, no, I was a spectator. But we had the best time, and it was a very special time for us to see these incredible athletes. What Rob's talking about is, later on, a couple of years later,
I just introduced you. Is his sound all right for you, Andrew?
It's a little jumbled, Doug. The little sound.
Sign off. Why don't you go to the next guest? Because I think I'm signed on for 2 panels. So go to the next guest. I'll come back on.
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can remove one of them. Yeah, are you? Hold on. No,
It's
I
like-
only see one
like
in here.
the delay of the audio coming in.
Yeah. What are you watching on YouTube or something? You want to turn one of those off?
On LinkedIn, and then I signed on, so I think I'm double signed on.
Well, why
Let
don't you sign off and then sign on?
Yeah, let's see. Let's try. I just removed
I mean,
him.
it's such an amazing story.
Yeah.
Such an
Okay. Well, do we want to do what he said there, and we will come back
Well, let's
to
see if
him.
he comes back on in quickly.
Well, Jove is here. Let's bring Jove in. Your Principal Stickle. I know you don't call him Jove, but my friend here in Missouri, by way of now Tennessee, and he's not running, but it looks like he's driving. Hey, Jove.
Did you finish? Did you finish?
Yes, I finished. I sure did. I'm on my way back from Lincoln, Nebraska, back home to Iowa from running a half marathon. So I actually saved up about a week and a half's worth of messages for the end of the race so I could hear Dr. Gilbert's voice in my head as I was finishing today.
Principal Jove Stickle, everyone. Missouri, Iowa, now retired principal. Jove, what a story. And here you did a half marathon today, and here he is joining the show.
Wait a second, Andrew. Wrestling coach. Come on.
That's right.
Wow. How did it go, Jove? How'd the race go for you?
It went pretty good. It was cold and windy, but it was a good race. It was fun. It's the last race of the year. It's one of the biggest races I've ever raced in, so I was pretty pleased with it. I really was. It was a fun day.
Good for you. And Jove wrote a beautiful excerpt in the book, C greater than F equals R. Tell us about your inspiration there, and tell us the results in the R that you got from living that formula there, Jove.
Yeah, so Dr. Gilbert was talking about when your commitment is greater than your feelings, you get results. And that just resonated with me, along with, on a daily basis, right? Those things go hand in hand. So it inspired me to kind of change my routine, change my regimen, and get more strict and committed to it, because everything comes back to your commitment. If you're committed to really truly committed, then you will. There's nothing you can't accomplish. There just isn't. So I weighed almost 600 pounds. I had bariatric surgery, but I was still struggling at the time. Like weight was coming off, but I really hadn't really tuned in to as far as I could get with what I was doing. And so when I went to a conference with Mr. Murata was speaking, and he talked about the Success Hotline, I immediately started calling it that day. And then Dr. Gilbert had asked us a story, tell me a little bit about yourself. He was doing a seminar, and then lo and behold, he starts emailing me back, and he says, hey, I got somebody you should meet. You should meet Andrew Murata. And so that started a whole long journey that's really transformed my life for the better, much better.
So what do you weigh now?
I'm under a waffle back and forth between 290 and 300.
And you're in a half marathon.
Yeah, yep. This is my fourth one in 3 weeks.
You what?
It was my fourth one in 3 weeks.
Fourth what?
Fourth half marathon in 3 weeks.
Fourth half marathon in 3 weeks.
Yep. So in 4 weeks, I had 3 and 4 weeks, and today was day 1,289 of the run streak. I hit. Wow. I'm almost ready to hit 7,200 miles.
And how much, for something to qualify for the streak, how many miles do you have to run a day?
You got to run at least one mile a day, but I average over 5. I try to hit 40 miles a week. That's kind of the standard.
Wow.
And Jove, you're working on a project as well. You're doing some writing as well with our friend Nathan Pierce from New England. Tell us a little bit about what you're writing about.
Yeah, so you kind of got Nate and I together based on our stories. I'd had that extreme weight loss. Nate had been inspired to lose weight, and so you hooked us up, and we started talking, and we just hit it off right away. And so we're writing about stories and inspirational stories and life lessons that we've picked up along the way in our journey not just as people losing weight, but just in our journey as leaders of our families, of schools, of our businesses. And so it's been a really fun journey. And then in the process, I've already started on another project. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's been really great for me. It's been one of the reasons why I chose to retire earlier than expected, because I wanted to devote some time to doing that and doing something a little different, So that's been a big fun project, and none of it would have happened without Dr. Gilbert and yourself. Dr. Gilbert was one of the first people that really kind of told me I was capable and had a great story that needed to be told, and that I was ready to do it, and that's all I needed to hear. And so that was a big benefit. And then you, of course, have helped push me along and encourage me as well.
Beautiful story. This is Jove Stickle, everyone. Here's Jove's intro. Oh, I don't have it queued up. Sorry. So what's next for you, Jove? What do you have next coming? You have the writing. You're retired. You're running. What's next for you? Well,
I'm getting ready to start. I'm building a business. I'm working on that. I want to start speaking publicly. And I think I've got enough material now, and I feel like I've had some opportunities to do a little bit. And so just expanding that. I'm subbing at school so I can stay connected with kids and teachers. And I think that's been absolutely vital for me. And just spending a lot of time with my family. I moved away for 30 years to teach and coach, and now I'm back in my home state around my family. It's been just fantastic to be around my nieces and nephews and my brother. It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Doc, any parting words for Jove?
Well, Jove is very, very kind. He's very, very humble. And Jove, I'm going to tell him about the big project. We didn't want to, well, it's not ready yet, but within another 2 weeks, Jove and I are going to be touring the country doing workshops called Mental Toughness. How ex-basketball players could be as tough as wrestlers. So it's for basketball players, for basketball coaches, and for basketball referees. And we're going to teach mental toughness skills to less endowed athletes, Because it's a shame that anybody would waste their winter on a basketball court while they could be in the wrestling room.
I'll tell you what, I was all in on Dr. Gilbert before I knew he was a wrestling guy. Once I knew he's a wrestling guy, I'm willing to do whatever it takes for Dr. Gilbert.
I love it. Well, this is Jove Stickle, as he said, 30 years, Missouri. Started as a social studies teacher, coaching wrestling, track and football, and now served as a middle school principal. In 2020, decided to make a change and not just leading others, but himself. And he lost over 300 pounds. He just shared he ran 4 half marathons in the last 3 weeks. Congratulations, Jove, on your health and your wellness, and certainly good luck with the writing. You have a community here to support you. All the friends at Gilbert will be rooting for you. When that book comes out, we'll do another show with Dr. Rob. How's that?
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, appreciate you guys so much. You mean so much to me in my life and my journey, and I'm so happy that more people are going to have the opportunity to hear the messages of Dr. Gilbert's. When you have valley, you got to have the valleys to have the peaks, and if more people heard that from Dr. Gilbert, the world would be a better place.
Awesome. Joe, be careful getting home, and congratulations, my friend.
Thanks, guys. You bet. Have a good one.
Joe Stickle.
With Mr. Marauder and Mr. Stickle and Mr. Kmar, and I just have to. In the Boston schools, we were indoctrinated. If you were a principal, you were Mr. all the time. Mr.
Sounds like you have a lot of experience being in the principal's office, Doc.
Well,
let's bring Doug back in, and I'm sure he's got this squared away. Doug, welcome back, my friend.
Well, thank you. I think I was on 2 networks at the same time there. My apologies. Great to be back on the air with you guys.
You're with us, yeah.
We were starting to frame it. So in the mid 70s, Rob and I were at UMass in summer orientation, became really good friends, if I could say so. And I said, Rob, let's go up to the Montreal Olympics. I've got a boatload of tickets. And we went up and spent 15 days. And ever since I've told people Rob Gilbert was my roommate at the Olympics, they say, wow, what sport you in? I said, I was a spectator. But Olympic weightlifting was my sport at UMass. And I won the New England Championships, and I was a 198 pounder, and I could clean and jerk 335 pounds. I was probably ranked 4th or 5th nationally. But I went to the World Championships and the pre-Olympic tournament, and Jim McKay from Wide World of Sports is announcing. I said, wow, I hope weightlifting gets on. And then I said to Rob, I had this crazy idea, and by now I'm working in the admissions office at Vassar 77. I said, Rob, there's nobody that's really an Olympic weightlifting announcer. I wonder if I could do this. And he said, absolutely. And he believed in myself more than I did myself. Okay. So I started writing the networks. And the long story short is I convinced the producers that I knew more about the sport than anybody. I would get a daily subscription to Sovietsky Sport. I'd get a Vassar student to translate it from Russian to English. And I knew more about Olympic weightlifting than anybody because I was just what Rob has been talking about every day. I studied it. I kept my communications up, and not bragging, but you have to package and market yourself, in terms of what you want to do. So finally, ESPN gave me a gig, and then I convinced ESPN to do another gig. And finally, NBC in the fall of 1980 said, we have an event because the U.S. Olympic team, because of the Jimmy Carter boycott, didn't go to Moscow. All the countries that didn't participate in Moscow were going to Shanghai, China for an invitational. And the NBC people interviewed me and said, you're going to China with a guy named Bob Costas. Bob had just joined NBC from KMOX.
Wow.
That's in Shanghai, China. And if you had said to Doug Cooney, when I was a dorm director with Rob back in 75 to 77, you're going to be on the network from China with a guy named Bob Costas, it was beyond my comprehension. And I went and I did okay, but Bob was great. He was terrific. And then from every broadcast I did from ESPN, and I was an announcer for 10 years for NBC, ESPN, and I did the Goodwill Games for the Turner people, 86 and 90. I studied the hell out of my tapes, but you need to know one thing about Rob Gilbert, because this is about Rob. When I came back from the Olympics, there was a box of VHS tape. Remember those big thick tapes you put in and they could tape for a couple hours? And Rob had taped the entire Summer Olympics from Seoul on NBC. There weren't cable outlets then. It was just one channel. 179 hours of tapes were in my box. The entire Olympics, not just my telecasts, were in there. Now that to me is extreme, okay? Like you talked about at the beginning of the show, that's friendship at its best. And ever since then, it's been a beautiful friendship. But to sum up, Rob was the inspiration for me to get the Olympics.
You have to reinforce, there was no YouTube back then. No YouTube.
No YouTube, no agents. There were 3 networks. Eddie Einhorn was the head producer at CBS. Ruin Arledge was at ABC, and Mike Weissman was at NBC. Mike ended up liking me and hiring me, so I kind of cracked the code. But Rob is one of these really unique people. You all know this watching this, that he's a giver. He always gives. He never asks. He always gives, and the advice he gives is unbelievable. I call it common sense, but I don't find it to be that common. And it's just ironic that my little quote is on page 98 because I was a 198 pounder of weightlifting. So Rob, congratulations on the book, Andrew and Rob, and it's a beautiful thing.
Well, I just want to reinforce the takeaway from Doug. So Doug had the goal. He wanted to be the Olympic announcer. Unfortunately, he wasn't a communications or broadcasting major. No. Unfortunately, he hadn't been on any radio or TV. Unfortunately, he was totally inexperienced.
Totally.
But he set himself up as the expert. Sovietsky Sports was a daily Soviet newspaper that went throughout. So he hired a Russian professor at Vassar to translate the weightlifting portion of the newspaper every day. He put it in his newsletter. Of course, he put it in his own words. And Doug was the only person that could pronounce some of the names. Give us some of the names.
Well, first there was the great Vasily Alexiev, David Rigger, Yuri Zakharevich, Yuri Sarkisian, and of course, Naim Suleimanoglu, the pocket Hercules from Turkey, which, he's from Turkey, defected from Bulgaria. One other quick story, if you don't mind. So I was NBC's announcer. And when people talk about how do you create opportunity for yourself? So in 1988, I convinced NBC about Suleimanoglu, the pocket Hercules. I convinced NBC to send Dan Sarah, fabulous NBC producer, and I to go to Cardiff, Wales for the European Championships. And I said, this is going to be the human interest story of the Olympics. Here's a lifter, 5'7", 132 pounds, world record holder from Bulgaria. But because he was discriminated against, there's a whole history there, he defected to Turkey and was going to represent Turkey in the Olympics. So I called Sports Illustrated 5 hours before plane time to London, before we took the train to Cardiff, Wales. This was 1988. And I just called the sports editor at the desk. I said, hi, this is Doug Coney. I'm an NBC announcer for Olympics. Are you familiar with the name Naim Suleimanoglu, the Pocket Hercules? They said no. And I was on the phone no more than 5 minutes. And I go over to Cardiff, Wales, and this reporter came up to me a couple days later in Cardiff. And he says, my name is Craig Neff. My editor said I should look you up, and there's quite a story. It ended up being a feature story in Sports Illustrated, okay?
Wow.
Of Suleimanoglu and the Pocket Hercules. And Rob can send you the link. And the greatest accomplishments I had was one phone call to Sports Illustrated gets them there. And sure, it was sweet that I got quoted in the article, and the people I worked with at the bank said, wow, how'd you do this, Doug? I said, very carefully. But my point is, you can always take, if you believe in something, if you believe in yourself, and you have a goal and objective, Rob Gilbert can get you there. Okay?
Beautiful, Doug. His excerpt, there's a lot of beautifully titled, beautifully written excerpts, but Pure Friendship is the name. Doug,
Yeah.
what a great story. I just put your website in the chat there, Deerfield Associates. Doug is the president of Deerfield Associates, a nationally known executive search firm which focuses on senior level search work in the education sector. So, Doug, thank you for sharing your story and certainly your help here. Yeah, Doc.
When Lynn came to me and she had this unbelievable idea about starting a fund, and she tells me about she used to be at fundraising at Boston College. So, when somebody says that, you don't know whether to believe it or not. I immediately called Doug Cooney. He knew exactly who she was. He told me everything about her.
Well, it all worked out, didn't it?
And listen, it's a beautiful story. Thank you for the time today, and I appreciate the chance to come back on the air on the real NBC network. Rob, you're and we'll be seeing you. Thanks so much.
See you Wednesday night, Doug. Thank you.
See you Wednesday night.
Doug, thanks, my friend. Yeah, Doug Cooney, everyone, Dr. Gilbert's close friend. What a great story there, Doc.
Well, every Wednesday night, so he's a headhunter, meaning, he's like a matchmaker, especially with for fundraisers and advancement people in higher education and private schools. So, he's placed thousands of people, and he knows exactly how to interview, exactly how not to, exactly how to write a resume, exactly how not to, exactly how to write a cover letter, exactly how not to. So every Wednesday night in my graduate class, he spends 10 or 15 minutes just giving these people the insider information.
Wow.
So now he's been around for 4 or 5 weeks. Now each kid has like a 15-minute interview with Doug, and Doug rips them apart. No, say this, not that. But here's one of the main things. He says, speak in sentences, not paragraphs. Speak in sentences. And it's a great Tom Donnelly, one of our superstar callers. Tom Donnelly says, don't say blah, blah when blah will do. So in the end, the whole thing, he says in an interview, be a great listener and don't talk too much, And most people look the exact opposite. So the reason most of the people that are coming on today, I'm just turned on by strategies, I mean, imagine you get the Soviet newspaper, and I don't know if you know this, Olympic weightlifting and ice hockey Olympic weightlifting, ice hockey, and chess are huge in the former Soviet Union. So he gets this newspaper, and then that's his research. Incredible. He sends it to, I guess he was sending it to ABC, and they thought, this guy, he's connected, But to his credit, he could pronounce those Yuri Zakharevich. I mean, I probably didn't say it, but imagine saying Yuri Zakharevich. That's a little easier to say than Doc Rivers,
Well, that was a great story, and there's been so many great stories connected to you, Doc. The hotline, and one of the ones I'm so grateful to talk about and introduce and share his story, Coach Jim Stroker. Jim, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Andrew, so much. I'm just flattered, honored, and just to be in this presence of, the Mount Rushmore of teachers and truly people who are changing lives. But this guy up in the corner, like this is a really unique story. I mean, it's book worthy what happened. And, he's, a lot of people say it and it's good to come out of their mouth, but, Rob has single-handedly changed my life and our family's life by his actions. And, it's a fun story. My dad died when I was 9.
Oh my God.
He was 48 years old.
Wow.
And, I was 9, a little 2B football player who had just finished the season. My brother Jack was 14. My mom was 44. My dad was 48. And then one night, like it just happened, June 21st, bang. And it happened, and he had a massive heart attack and died. And I went from a little boy with a daddy, to a little boy that would never have a dad again. And, my mom was like the role model of flipping things upside down. She said, look, we got gypped here, but we're not going to get gypped again. She was early on reframing situations, right? So I grew up and I got this giant hole in my soul. Like it's just giant. I want a dad more than anything, right? So I am on the lookout for coaches. Like I'm in every class the first day going, I think this will be my dad-like figure, right? And all of a sudden you find some coaches that are feeding that soul, and I kind of never found that person. And I was always just looking. And then suddenly, I became a teacher for one reason, so that I could get in front of kids and play dad to those kids. I wanted to vicariously flip the thing upside down. I was speaking to my dad and my passion, my like it was bigger than just your teaching. Well, like this was like mystical, and I feel like these words coming through me like mystical vessels coming from I thought my dad. So I'm coaching at Ridgewood High School. I'm a really into it. And for some reason, I get this message like, this guy, Gilbert, is teaching sports psychology. And I'm intrigued by what's going on between the ears. Like that's always what I've loved. So, I'm coaching at Ridgewood High School. I'm the basketball coach, varsity basketball coach, baseball coach, and football defensive coordinator with my good friend Chuck Johnson. And I get, and I decide, okay, every Tuesday night I'll run down to Montclair State, and I meet this guy. I meet the Golden Buddha. I meet this mystical guy that is like, offering this buffet of everything I want and need, and he's introducing me to the world of storytelling, and it's like biting, like, oh my God, everything fits, and so I'm like literally in love. I'm like, I can't wait. Like every Tuesday night is Christmas, like I can't wait. I have 7, like I'm sitting, my hand won't sit still. I'll take you down notes. I'm going back to my classroom and I'm telling these stories, and it's like amazing. Like it's the best thing that ever happened. He showed up. My dad showed up, as Rob Gilbert. And I look up into the sky and thank God and realize it's probably happening. And then all of a sudden it happened. Like in the hero's journey, as we all know, Joseph Campbell, there's always the dark cave shows up, something happens that knocks you upside down and send you sideways, and you get down in that bottom of the cave and you're lost, until finally you find yourself. The armor breaks off and you become this great person. But Campbell says, don't forget. And just like any movie you've seen, any George Lucas, Star Wars, the hero comes out and we're like, yes, the hero did it. And he walks out and he's like, I did it. And then all of a sudden, boom. No, not another hit. It's impossible. It can't. No, the hero is done. But Campbell said there's always that second hit. And one morning I'm teaching my classroom and I'm so fired up. I'm literally standing on the desk because we're starting the drug and alcohol unit. I'm saying, look, let me tell you one thing. Character is the ability to persist against constant opposition. It's the ability to hang in there, stay strong when things get tough. So make your commitment and then hang in there. And all of a sudden there was a knock on the door. And I looked through the window glass and my principal, Paul Folcomer, was beckoning me, Jim, come quick. And I ran out hallway, and Paul said, Jim, Jody and the kids have been in a car accident. And Jody and the kids are my wife, Jody, and my 4-year-old son, Jake, and my 2-year-old daughter, Allie. Now, again, when you're a dad, it's like, the love you. But if you've never had a dad, so everything was like I couldn't get enough of those guys, right? We raced in the car, and Andrew, about a mile from school, it was that vision, and Jake was being carried out of the back seat on a stretcher. He was unconscious, and the EMT workers were pushing me away. I said, Jake, are you going to be okay? And he didn't respond. And he was bleeding from the brain, and he experienced a traumatic head injury, and he was rushed into Valley and then rushed to St. Joseph's. And the clergy talked to us and told us to pray that it wasn't good. He was placed into an induced comatose state and sent to St. Joseph's Pediatric Intensive Care Unit. And it was the worst thing that had ever happened until all of a sudden, 14 hours later, the doctors walk in and said, something's wrong with your daughter. And my daughter, Allie, started to develop paralysis and became paralyzed from the chest down at age 2. She developed pneumonia, and she was rushed to St. Joseph's Pediatric Intensive Care Unit to lie next to her brother. There's 8 kids in that room. You don't want to go there. And 8 are all on life support. And 2 in the middle were ours. For real. It wasn't a story. It wasn't some mate. It was for real. Both near death. And so, life seemed like it was way too much. And the story goes, it's like, I'm going to say maybe, this is my story. Maybe it's 14 days later. It might be a little bit later, but it was just like, how do you eat an elephant? But how do you eat 100 elephants? Like how do you fight Goliath? How do you fight Goliath plus Dick Butkus plus the worst possible nightmare you've had? How do you handle that one, right? Like the one bite at a time is great until all of a sudden the storm just becomes like a tornado of, why God, why? And it's a true story. I needed someone to show up. I needed God to send, that person. And so of course it's 5:30 in the morning. I'm on Route 80 and it's pitch dark, and I push, of course, 973-743-4690. And a voice answers in a pre-recorded hotline. And of course, this guy Gilbert that you may have heard about, he delivers these hotlines every single day, and he delivers them to over 70, 80, 100,000 people a day. But that wasn't for the other 70,000. That was for me. And Rob got on the phone and told the story, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's about 3.5, 4 minutes, but you'll find it in the book about this old woman, this frail elderly woman in this tent with the world's strongest man. And the strong man does 4 feats of strength, rip phone books, bend nails through and take railroad ties. And then he brings out a lemon in a glass in a suitcase. And he starts squeezing the lemon with his vice-like grip and his bulging forearms. And he squeezes every drop of lemon juice out of that lemon. And he says, open that suitcase. And his assistant walks over. She opens up the case, and there's 500,000 bills stacked upon each other like they're stacked, and a sign that says $20,000. And of course, he looks out in his group and says, if anyone, just anyone can squeeze 1 drop of lemon juice out of this lemon. Now I'm driving on Route 80, and Rob Gilbert's delivering the story. And all of a sudden I listen. And all of a sudden the strong man looks to the back row, and there's a woman that raises her hand. And that woman says, I can do that. And she walks up with her walker with this frail body, gray hair. And everyone starts to laugh in the tent, but she walks up to that case and she looks into that suitcase and then reaches into her blouse. And she pulls out a locket. She gazes at it, closes it up, puts it back in her blouse, and walks up to that lemon. Says Gilbert on the hotline. Better than even this. And she takes that lemon and she holds it up over the glass. and she squeezes. And like every other squeezer, they squeezed hard, but she wouldn't stop. And like everyone else, they ran out of gas, became tired, became just no more energy, but she wouldn't stop until all of a sudden, not one drop, but 2 drops of lemon juice went to the glass. And the strong man stood there stunned and shocked and said, "How did you do that?" And she reached into her blouse and pulled out a locket. And the locket was a picture of her grandson. He was 8 years old, and he had 1 week to live without a surgery. That surgical operation cost $20,000, said Gilbert. And then she said, "Let me tell you something. If there's a big enough reason why, and that why is about other people that you love, you'll always find the how." I mean, I was the bondage, everything came off. If there's a big enough reason why, Jake and Allie, you don't have to worry about the how. It'll come. And I know that was the truth. And that saved my life. Well, Jake and Allie, Jake came out of his coma after 14, 15 days, came out with an IQ of 73, the use of one arm, wore leg braces and a helmet. He had one arm. And Allie was fitted for her first wheelchair at age 2. That's 2. That's your wheelchair. Her chin was in her chest and she was shaking. And Gilbert kept telling story after story after story about the one-armed judo kid that got in there. And all of a sudden, he comes up with this move that's incredible. And he goes, "Well, how did I do it?" "Well, there's only one way that anyone could get out of the move. Let's grab the arm that's not there." And all the stories were working. And I was taking these stories off of a hotline and living them. It was like the Bible. It was like the handbook had come, and he didn't know. I didn't go, "Rob, that was it." No, he was giving to me. And then 2 days later, I'd be fine. And then Saturday, I can't do this. I call the hotline, and lo and behold, all of a sudden he tells a Henry Peterson story. I'm like, "Oh my God, the Henry Peterson story." So my dad's up here. My dad's part of this. So I go to this mystic in Summit right after the story. And the mystic goes, "There's somebody with you." And I said, "Who?" And she said, "That's your dad with you." And I said, "There's someone here." And she went on this mystic and talked about an accident. And she said, "Your dad was in the back seat. He saved your kids." And so Gilbert told the Henry Peterson story to me so I could go to the mystic. So everything's happening for a reason, and it always has been. And whether it's Carl Jung or Freud or whatever, or not Freud, this is all spontaneity. So I just believe, Rob Gilbert is my, soulmate shepherd. He's the angel that was placed here to change the life of our family. And Allie, it rolls in, and Jake comes into the Rob Gilbert class. And Allie's like 7, and she can hardly move. But she's learned how to sing. And Jake walks, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, so ironic.
Dad, what's going on?
So ironic.
Hey, Emily, welcome to the show.
Allie, I'm on the phone with Rob Gilbert.
Oh my God.
And Andrew in a podcast. I'm just in the middle of talking about you, just as you called.
Oh my God. Well, I just got your text.
Well, can you say hi something to Rob?
Oh, wait. Oh my gosh, Rob, how are you?
Well, Allie, there have only been 2 times I've ever cried watching TV. One was in 2004 when the Red Sox won their first World Series in my lifetime. And the last time is when you won the Tony Award for Best Supporting Actress in Oklahoma. Allie Stroker, the little girl that was in the back seat, won a Tony Award on Broadway. And not only that, I also saw you in Les Mis at Ridgewood High School.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet.
And I also saw you in Spelling Bee. And I also saw you in Glee.
Rob, you're my biggest fan.
Wow.
Well, I was just telling the story
And I also saw you at the Paralympics.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So do you remember singing in Rob's class with Jake?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, I know it's Jesse's birthday. You got on because I asked you to, and I can't thank you enough, Allie.
Well,
Of course, of course. I'm so happy that you guys are chatting and that you're connected. It's so nice.
well,
All right.
thank you, Allie.
All right.
Allie, thank you.
Love you. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Oh man.
So
Wow,
you talk
Jim.
about, right? Is it like, is
Wow.
that, did I just, I mean, boom, right? So it's all going. So Rob invites Allie and Jake in, right? And I'm almost done because we got to move this thing along. So invites him in and has Allie sing, at that age, she's age 7. She sings the song that the first song, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow, that she recorded down in Long Beach Island when she first got into it from Annie. But Jake comes in and he's got one arm. That's it. And Rob said, let's flip obstacles into opportunities. Let's turn problems into possibilities and flip things upside down, right? So we put a putter in Jake's right arm, a putter, right? Because you don't need two. In fact, why would you ever putt a ball with 2 hands? You wouldn't do anything with finite movement with 2. You do so you get better with 1. You wouldn't paint a picture, you wouldn't board a ball. So Jake comes in with his putter, and Rob walks the whole class out to the hallway, and he walks down the end of the hallway. Now this is Montclair State hallway. This is not this is not the small class.
This is not Fort Jervis High School hallway.
He walks in and he takes his coffee cup out. He puts it on the ground, Andrew, and puts $100 bill in the coffee cup and gives Jake 3 golf balls. So again, God is like working here. My father's working. The whole thing's a show, right? This is all a show. Well, first putt. Bing. Right in the cup. Right in the cup. So anyway, I'm going to stop now. You've had enough of my excitement about Rob because I know you're trying to get other people in. But Rob,
Jim, you have to just say, you told me this morning, Andrew. This is so great. Tell us the difference between nice and kind.
Well, I love this part. Like I've got these. When I speak, I do a lot of. Come on, Jim, find it. All right. Well, what I would do is pull out my white belt, right? So a lot of people walk around white belts, and white belts are people who are nice, and you know what? It's good to be nice. Like nice is really nice, and nice is thanks Rob. You're a really nice guy, and good luck today on the show. Nice is I heard your mom's in the hospital. Will you give her my best? That is really nice. Or nice is like I heard you're moving on Wednesday. Gee, I hope you have a good move. That's nice. And it really is. That's white belt. And it's better to be nice than not nice, right? What? Oh, look at this. Rob.
Is that Jake?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Wait, and then I'll finish. You gotta get off. Well, it's just so ironic, isn't it?
I love it.
I can't. We got too much. So anyway, I want to finish. So nice is, nice sentiments. But kind is different. Kind is the black belt. Kind is action-packed. Okay, I heard you're moving Wednesday. I'll be there to help you. Your mom's in the hospital. What room so I can get there? Kind isn't just, I hope you have a good day. What can I do to help you? Rob's got a podcast. Let me be there. Let me do it. So it's as Gilbert says, it's just the little things that make everything. It's the Melissa Saprio story. It's just the little things. And nice is nice. It's white belt. But you want to be a black belt, be kind. And then what happens at the end, I will stop. The kinder you are, the bigger your bank account grows. And there's only one bank account that you're ever going to need when you end up in the hospital with your 2 children. And that's the bank account of love. When you've been kind to someone else, guess what? You'll get kindness back. And somehow, maybe miracles will happen. So anyway, enough's enough.
That was
Wow.
That was
Oh
unbelievable.
my God. Wow.
That was unbelievable.
Jim, you're incredible. Your story, your positivity. Jim is a motivational speaker in New Jersey. Check him out. His website, coachstroker.com. It's in there. We even got the logo in the book, Jim. So thank you
Andrew,
for sharing the story.
And your book just came out, Huddle Up, if you're interested.
Oh,
Huddle
okay.
Up, Coach Jim Stroker.
Yeah, Andrew, there's a sad part of this story. It used to be that Allie used to be, oh, Jim Stroker's your dad. But now, oh, Jim, you're Allie's father.
Wow. Well, check him out, coachstroker.com. Jim, you have incredible energy. I try to be energetic, but man, you're something. You're incredible.
Thanks, Andrew. You're amazing. I'm just enamored by, and the gift you've given Rob, that's not just nice, that's kind.
Yeah.
You put a lot of work in. So
like you said, he's given us all this gift. Jim, let's get you scheduled. We'll talk about Huddle Up, okay?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yep. Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, friend. Bye, guys.
All right.
Love you.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Oh
Love you.
my God. Jim Stroker. Oh my God.
His daughter at the closing ceremonies of the Paralympics in Paris, because the Paralympics they always try to honor the next country. So the next Paralympics and next Olympics are going to be in LA. So they wanted to transition from Fans to America. So the last singer at the Paralympics in front of about 80,000 people was Allie Stroker.
Wow.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the first singer at the Los Angeles Olympics is Allie Stroker. She is huge.
I love it. Well, Jim was incredible. That's the first podcast I've ever had, Doc, that I never asked one question. So it made it pretty easy there. Karen, I'm sorry. You got to follow Jim Stroker there. But let's bring our friend Karen Abarbanel in, incredible writer. Karen writes dangerously. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you so much. I will say that my husband and I had the good fortune to see Allie Stroker in Oklahoma. And it was really amazing. Yes.
Fantastic. Friends, this is Karen Abarbanel, longtime caller, great friend of Dr. Gilbert. Karen, sorry, we're running late tonight.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll just say a couple of things. I'll just say that I've been a longtime caller of Dr. Gilbert's. I had the good fortune to have a dear friend of mine who was going to MSU tell me about the hotline, and I started calling. I never stopped. I mean, I've been calling for 15 years, 20 years, going on, and it's just made a huge difference in my life in many ways. One of the biggest things is it encouraged me. I had the idea to do a motivational blog about writing, because I love writing. I think writing is a joyful activity. A lot of people find it very angsty and anxiety producing, but I feel like it's a gift and an honor and wonderful. So I wanted to share that kind of uplifting feeling about writing in some ways, sort of in a way that would sort of be reminiscent of the hotline. And I wanted to do the blog in honor of my sister and my mom, who had both passed, but were always very encouraging of my writing. And I decided in a crazy way to do exactly what Dr. Gilbert did. And I started this, Karen Writes Dangerously, my motivational blog for writers. I started it, it's 10, 12 years ago now. And I've written every day, daily. I do a daily post, and it has been very challenging. And when I started, I thought, geez, I have about 5 ideas, I mean, I've got some ideas for some good posts, but then what am I going to do? But just as Rob said, he says at one point, if you want to learn about something, get a file and, just start reading about it, putting things in, and you'll become a magnet for that thing. And that
you carry a bird cage around long enough, someone's going to give you a bird.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just, started, friends started sending me things and I started reading things. I'd read something in the paper and say, that's interesting. I go to a seminar and say, I should really share that. So long story short, I've done thousands of posts at this point, from those couple that I thought I might do. But it was all inspired by Dr. Gilbert. And I'll just say quickly that my contribution to this wonderful book was my kind of mantra. One of the ones that's helped me the most is wit, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
And the sort of companion to that is be extreme. And, I have found those just transforming for me as a writer because, as a writer, I will say, you face a lot of rejection. You're sending things out. You're not writing. I mean, as a professional writer, I'm not writing to put something in a drawer. I'm writing because I want people to read it. I have something to share. And I feel, it will hopefully make a difference in their lives. But you end up with a lot of things you throw against the wall. A friend of mine says you throw 10, maybe 2 stick, the other 8 fall to the ground. But anyway, it was really, really huge for me to just be listening constantly to this idea of just whatever it takes, keep going, don't give up, don't quit, can't fail. All of these things, sort of I began to absorb, and it has made just a huge difference in my writing and my approach to how I handle rejection or how I reframe it, next opportunity, whatever, next opportunity. And I'll just tell one little quick story and then I'll be done. I had written a sort of an inspirational, it's hard to use that word around 9/11, but I had written a story related to 9/11 that was inspired by George Washington and what he was doing in 1776 on September 11th. And I just got this idea through, a series of events to write a story that would talk about all that he was going through, all the adversity, and how he marshaled his resources to go forward. And I submitted this story a couple of times. I got close to the New Yorker, a little bit interested, nothing happened. But recently, a big anniversary rolled around, I guess the 20th. And I thought, it's now or never with this story. I really need to get this story out. So I just adopted wit, whatever it takes, as my mantra. And I sat literally, I can still see myself for 3 days, and I did nothing but send this story out. I sent it out to maybe 30 or 40 places. I was calling all my friends. Who do you know? They were sending me, someone knew someone at the New York Times. I'm sending it there. Someone knew someone at Newsweek. I'm sending it there. I'm sending it everywhere you could think of. Oprah, it was a long story, a long form story, which is hard to place. But anyway, I just kept going, and working my way through dozens of, publications. And a lot of it just went into a black hole. You never hear anything. You send it out, a query, nothing. But anyway, one friend at some point said, gee, why don't you send it to the American Heritage? That might be a good place. And of course, I had that on my list. But when the friend said that, it just struck a chord with me. So I sent my query letter out to American Heritage. This was probably the 35th publication I sent it out to, something like that. And like 45 minutes after I sent it out, I got a note from the editor saying, oh, this sounds interesting. We're putting together a special edition of American Heritage for 9/11. And if you could send us the story by August, we might be able to consider it. But I had the draft, I'd written it. I sent it out to the guy. And half an hour later, I get another note from him saying, we love this story and we're going to publish it. And long story short, they did a beautiful, beautiful job. American Heritage was the perfect place for the story. they did some artwork, and it will be in their archives forever. It's not like an online story that's here today and gone tomorrow. But I know I would not have had the staying power to do that without all of the encouragement from Rob and all his constant reinforcement of this idea. Don't quit, can't fail, just keep going, keep going. So I am super, super grateful. And I've also been the recipient, Rob, I think Doug talked about all the tapes he got from Rob. Well, one day I'm opening the door and I look on my porch and there's this sort of box or wrapped in brown paper, this big bulky thing. And I pull it out, I look at it, and it was a treasure trove of bits and pieces, little magazines from Rob that he had sort of donated to me for my blog, and which I have used constantly as inspiration, little, the little quotes and things. So he has been a source of great inspiration to this writer. So I am just so grateful. And I was so happy to be asked to, to have the opportunity to contribute a story to this book. And thank you, Andrew, for making it all happen. And thank you.
Oh, yeah. Karen at Barbanol. Karen, I put your website in there. Karen Writes Dangerously. You did have a writing in there today. I love it. How many days in a row have you written? Do you know how many days?
It's like, I've been doing it for, 12 years. I take off the weekend usually, but I've done, I have a pretty good streak going. Also, writing 4 pages a day. I've been doing that for a very long time.
Wow.
And that is also huge and was also inspired by Rob, I will say.
Yeah. We know Dr. Rob likes streaks,
Yeah.
Oh,
we know he does. So if I am up at 2:00 and I have not written my 4 page, I don't go to sleep till I've written those 4 pages, whatever.
Wow.
I mean, I just keep going. So I got a streak going. But
awesome.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. It was great. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. And it's in here, What It Takes. It was obviously beautifully written, Karen. And
thank you.
I put it in the chat here. So awesome. Doc, you want to share anything before Karen leaves?
Well, Karen left out her off-Broadway play that's going to eventually be on Broadway.
We hope, from your mouth to God's ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a play about the Black activist Sojourner Truth called Dust of Egypt, and when we were fundraising for the play in a festival, Rob was kind enough to do an interview on the hotline with me where I talked about it, and many hotline callers were kind enough to contribute to help us, raise the funds to put the play on. And now we have a March 2026 4-week run at a place called the Sheen Center, a beautiful theater, the Frank Shiner Theater. And I'll be telling you more about it, but we're very excited.
Yeah.
With the 4-week run, we might be able to get some reviews and, find a producer who'll help us take it to the next level.
Okay. Well, we'll help you out with that. That's exciting.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Well, this is Karen at Barbanol, friends. Thank you, Karen. Check out her writings. Karen Writes Dangerously. I love the title there. Thank you for your contribution, Karen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Wow. That's incredible, Doc. Look at this. Look at all the impact you've had. This is really, I've heard these stories, but to hear people telling them to you, it's very beautiful.
Oh, it's very, very nice.
It's good. Do you got to use the restroom? We've been on for almost 2 hours. You okay?
Andrew, I'm beyond that.
Okay. I'm drinking tea here. I might have to go here.
You have a big enough reason why you'll find it.
Well, let's bring in Superintendent Hal Abraham from New Jersey, one of your students, Montclair State University.
Are you a superintendent now?
Superintendent.
When did that happen?
Almost 2 years ago now.
Where are you superintendent?
Lebanon Township in Hunterdon County.
Oh my gosh.
Time flies.
Dr. Hal Abraham, a student athlete from Montclair State. You had Dr. Gilbert in class, Hal.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Wow. Oh, my God.
You got to find
Well,
somebody to give him an A, you know?
How, tell me, so you've been calling the hotline since you're a student?
I've called the hotline since I was a student. But I will say that Dr. Gilbert, like everybody else that spoke this evening, has made such an impact on my life that I've felt indebted to return to his class, to speak to students, to keep his message and his teachings by my side constantly, and to really just kind of share what he shared with so many.
Yeah. And you just had a trip to Italy as well. Didn't you just get back from Italy?
Yeah, just had a big trip. It went amazingly. And I'm more than happy to share all of the details about that with you guys outside of the podcast, but wanted to keep today's podcast solely about Dr. Gilbert.
Yeah. Andrew, Dr. Abraham, he played collegiate basketball at Montclair State University. I wonder if you officiated one of his games.
Yeah, he's been in class so many times with you. I don't know how many times he's been on the court with me, but he certainly wrote a great excerpt here. FAIL is your acronym, Hal. Tell us about your acronym, FAIL, and what made you pick that.
Well, I'll say this, with full transparency, I took Dr. Gilbert's class for the first time because I heard that it was a great opportunity to pass. And as a new student athlete, I wanted to make sure that I was at least eligible to play. More importantly, I wanted to do well, but because I had struggled so much before college, for me, the focus was really just being able to pass. And I would say the best takeaway that I had from being a student athlete in college was not the bonds, which are amazing, not the opportunity to continue your playing career, but actually the priority registration, because it allowed us the opportunity to pick our classes before everybody else. And if you did your homework, you were able to take somebody that was really special, somebody that would make an impact on your life, and somebody that you would learn a lot from. Hence why I took Dr. Gilbert 3 times. But I'll never forget my first class with Dr. Gilbert, where he just started the class by talking about how neat it would be to be like Tiger Woods in the commercials, juggling a golf ball, and being able to do that on command for a long period of time. So without any practice, he gave it a go in front of the full class. And he juggled once, twice, and then it ricocheted off the club of the head and hit one of the windows at the opposite side of the class. So we're all laughing. We got a good kick out of it. And we continued with this class. Fast forward to the end of the semester, as we're taking the final exam, he had told us that he had practiced multiple hours each and every day. And he proved to us that he could juggle. He juggled the golf ball for the full length of the class while we were taking the final, which was pretty impressive. But he framed that by just talking about most people in life are not successful because they're fearful of failing. If you see the word fail as a first attempt in learning and you forget your fears about failing, you can do anything. And you can do things that most people won't accomplish because of that fear. So that's something that I'll never forget.
Awesome. What a great story. Again, and here it is here, his excerpt here. So how do you use Gilbertisms? Do you take things from the hotline, and does it help you as superintendent?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. I mean, I use the Gilbertisms constantly in conversation with teachers, with kids, with families. I've taken his railroad nails and that lesson to each of my homerooms as I started as a superintendent, to get people to work together and to talk about team building. But he's absolutely by my side each and every day.
Awesome. Hal and I have been in touch about the book over the course of a couple of years. He was pushing me and motivating me to keep writing, and so I appreciate that, Hal. Are you wearing a Montclair State jersey there, your shirt? Yeah.
State polo.
Yeah.
I bleed Red Hawk 100%, red and white. And it's because of people like Dr. Gilbert. I mean, I think when you think of how big Montclair State actually is, 25,000 students, it's pretty amazing to think that you can have professors like Dr. Gilbert that personalize things to such an incredible way like he does. It's pretty neat. You wouldn't think that you would get that from such a large school, let alone university.
Hal, I know you were one of the people that ordered the book right away. You got it, and when you thumbed through it, what was another acronym? What was another story in there that resonated with you?
Probably the Three Frogs.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, Mark was on earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's so true, right? You can decide to do something, but if you don't take action, you're not going to see any results. And I think that kind of ties into another story that I have about Dr. Gilbert that I've shared with you a couple times, but this is one that I tell a lot of people. And one of the original appeals to Dr. Gilbert's classes was the understanding that there's no tests, there's no quizzes, there's no homework, there's no attendance policy. So you think, wow, I'm going to do incredibly well. But there is a final exam. And you have one of those old school blue booklets where you have to write about each of the lessons that you learned throughout the course. So I never missed a class. And that was another thing that I took from Dr. Gilbert. If you show up each and every day and you never miss a class, you're guaranteed to leave with a degree. So I never missed a class, not one in my entire time in college because of those sentiments. But with that being said, I never ever would have thought about missing one of Dr. Gilbert's classes. So you'd think that if you never miss a class, you participate in a class, you enjoy it thoroughly, that you're going to do really well in the final. But you're able to take that final until you get the grade you want. And we take the final. I'm in the class with other guys that are on the men's basketball team with me. And again, none of us missed any time. And we loved the course. We get our grade back and we got C's. So we're all upset because we know we put the time in. We genuinely loved the class. We learned so much from it. But we had the opportunity to take it as many times as we want. And it was amazing to see how some people in the class were content with the C. It was a passing score. They were fine with it and they accepted it. I didn't want to do that. So convinced a couple of the other guys to come back and take the test again. And we did that and we got a B. And a couple more people decided, okay, a B is a pretty good grade. We'll take it. I didn't want it, right? Like I felt the challenge and understood the lesson that Dr. Gilbert was trying to teach us. If you want to be average, then you settle for average. If you want to be great, you put in more time, and ultimately, that's what you'll receive. And I remember going in, I think it was New Year's Day, going in with one other guy to retake the test for the third time. And we performed equally as well as we did on any of the other assessments that came before it. It was a matter of just continuing to show up. And that was one of the most powerful lessons that any college professor could have ever taught us, because at the end of the day, when you're interviewing for a job or you're going for a promotion, it's not about being the smartest person in the room, but it's about showing up, being persistent, demonstrating grit, and being a problem solver, and not accepting average. If you're somebody that is persistent and always wants more and to do better and right by people, you'll always be successful. And those are things that I think you won't learn in every course, but you'll always learn it in Dr. Gilbert's.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Hal, thank you so much. So great to hear so many different stories and impacts. And here you are, you're a professor at Montclair now as well, correct?
Yeah, 10 years running.
Wow.
So I'm an adjunct professor in the educational leadership program at Montclair. And, I approach those classes similarly to how he approaches his, by putting the students first, caring more so about the experience that they have as opposed to hard deadlines, or being a tough grader, if they leave that course, if they leave the program, feeling confident that they can become a successful administrator, if they become a better problem solver or increase their network, then it's all worth it. So I think, again, tipping the hat, so to speak, to Dr. Gilbert and using what he's done in his teaching for others.
Hal, thank you so much. Good luck to you, my friend, and certainly appreciate your contribution to the book.
Before he leaves, I have to read you, I guess before Hal got on, he wrote a little chat. It said, a challenge. Mr. Murata, if you could beat me one-on-one in basketball, I'll buy 100 copies of the book.
Well, we might have to play that out, man. I don't know. We might have to play that out.
Well, we'll have to have somebody that has no CPR by the court that day.
Dr. Abraham, thanks, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Great seeing you.
Okay, great.
See you soon. Okay, I love it. I love it. Did you see what he wrote there? Dr. Gilbert's biggest fan in the subline. Wow. Hal, thank you, my friend. That was great. This has been awesome. A longtime friend is next. Ed, please forgive us. We are an hour delayed on our schedule, but hey, you know what they say? They saved the best for last. Here comes the great Ed Agresta to us from New Jersey.
Oh, hello. Thanks for having me.
Hello,
Rob.
The world's greatest motivational speaker.
Thank you. No one could fill your shoes, but we all follow in your footsteps. I think that's real. It's important. And real quick, I don't know what you told him. I heard what you said before, but I know there's a time when you have to go to the bathroom. So we'll make sure that we'll shorten this. The important part, I met Dr. Gilbert real fast at a Christmas party. He was playing Santa. I was coaching at Montclair State, and he was playing Santa, and he asked for pictures of all the kids who were going to be coming. So we sent my daughter the picture, and all of a sudden, she would come in, and he called her by name, and every kid that came in that sat on his lap, he called them by name. And my daughter said to me, Dad, how did he know my name? And I said, I have to know this guy. I have to get to meet this guy because people just don't do stuff like that. Long story short, we would meet every Sunday morning, either at his house or at a diner for breakfast. And he'd have books and tapes for me every week. And he says, I'm giving them to you because I know you're going to give them back to me. And the following week we meet again and I'd give him the stuff. So it was a great, great relationship. And I just feel good about that he helped mentor. He was my mentor. And I had an opportunity to travel around the country giving talks and presentations and coaching and teaching. Simple things about making people feel important. A perfect example. I took that principle. I worked in a town where 91% of our kids were on breakfast and lunch programs.
Wow.
So we had some problems, at-risk kids. I went out and got a welcome mat, and I put it in front of my door and in a classroom. And every kid that came in, I welcomed them and we shook hands. Now, there were certain kids I didn't want to shake hands with, so we did elbows and back then and fist bumps and all that stuff. But there were things that I took from his hotline and also from speaking with him, and I applied it to the class and into coaching. And we had some successful years in coaching and in teaching, but the thing that I used to tell the kids, and I used to go with Dr. Gilbert's class, and he'll tell you, I used to say to I'm calling them kids because I'm in my 80s, so I call them kids. In his class, I used to say, I'm going to give you one of the questions on his exam, number 35. It's called Mumba. And don't ever get this disease, Mumba. And I would have the whole class stand and go, Mumba, Mumba. And Mumba stands for my only obstacle may be attitude. That's what stops people most of all, just their attitude, And sure enough, on every exam, number 35 was Mumba. You know? so we have a great relationship. In fact, what I do is, unfortunately, we couldn't get together this year. I have a festival of life where I thank people that were very close to me, about 30 people, you know, my inner circle, because I don't want to, when I die, they're going to say all nice things. You know how nice things are saying about Gilbert now? You know, they're going to, when I die, people are going to say nice things. I want to say thank you now. So I have a big picnic with about 30 people at my house. And Dr. Gilbert's always invited every year because he plays that important part in the festival of my life. So I enjoy this time with you, the short time. I know we've been on a long time. I've been there from the beginning. What great stories. What great stories. Unbelievable. Like I said, no one can fill your shoes, Dr. Gilbert, but they can follow in your footsteps.
Oh, that's so sweet. Could you do you remember the story about the girl that was so upset, the cheerleader?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
It was a girl that was upset, and she said, you know, somebody else was making fun of her, and says, "You know her? No. Do you like her? No." And you're going to let her steal your, you know. It was Mumba. My only obstacle might be
attitude.
Yeah. So the story was somebody that she doesn't know and she didn't even like was making her feel lousy. You know?
I do have to tell one more quick story though.
Yeah.
You got it, Ed. We're
no,
good.
I know, because Rob and I were given a talk at some physical fitness place. And as you know, Rob does his magic tricks to get people. It's called state strategy content. You got to get people in the state to learn before you do anything else. So he has this magic trick. I hope you remember this, where you have the 3 nails sticking up and you smash the cup on it. Well, he missed it. He missed the thing, and he smashed his hand down on the cup, but it was the wrong nail. And there he is, it's bleeding, blood's coming out. I'm in the front row. And I said, Rob, I'll take over. You know, I'll go on. No. And the blood's coming out, and he's going on and on and on and on with the whole thing. And he finished the whole talk with, and I don't even know if you got stitches or you have the scar yet. Yeah. Do you remember that, Rob? I don't know.
I do. And luckily, just by chance, the athletic trainer happened to be in the front row.
Yes, that's right. That's right. The bandage.
Wow. So, well, Ed, he calls all the principals Mr., but anytime he mentions you on the hotline, he says the great Ed Agresta.
Well, he used to see me fired up on the field, the football field, Montclair. and you know, so it was.
He was a head football coach of a college team, Mr. Murata.
Wow.
Yeah, St. Peter. Well, I was the head coach at St. Peter's.
Wow.
And of course at Montclair State.
Tell us about the red. Tell us about the red dots.
The red dots. I worked with the linebackers at Montclair State. So what I did is I put red dots all over the place. I made a big board by the press box into the classrooms where the kids were, and the red dots were ready every day, run every day, read every day. And all I used to say on the sideline when we were during games was red dot it, red dot it, red dot it. That's all you got to do. You got to red dot it. You know, run every day, read every day. You know, don't worry about the past. Play. And Coach G used to laugh because I used to say to the kids, "Listen, they used to put their arms. Let me see if I can do this. You know, they used to put their arms behind their back and go like this, shake their hands off. And that used to be get the dragons off your back. So there's 21, 22-year-old men who may have screwed up one of the plays, and they're moving their arms back and forth, you know, to get the dragons off their back. And I used to tell them, that doesn't count back there. Let's see what we're going to go. Next play. You know, so we used to red dot it all the time. I had red dots on their hands. I put red dots on their watches. That year was the theme for the red dots. I didn't think you remember that.
It was a cult.
Yeah, it could have been. Got me scared for a while.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Ed mentioned it here. Ed, I love it. Very different, your acronym, PMMFIT. Please make me feel important today.
Yeah. You know, every day. I give out because of that, because of Dr. Gilbert and everything else, I wrote a kid's book called Roger, the Greatest Bird in the World, the Bravest Bird in the World. And I had medals made up. And anybody that really goes out of their way for other people and helps other people, I give them an award. I think I gave you one too, Rob, if I'm not mistaken.
Did, yeah. I have one.
With the Roger Award. Now I'm giving out the GOAT Award. I ordered GOAT Awards. Again, based on everything that I learned from Dr. Gilbert.
Wow.
Greatest of all time. And anybody, I pick people who are not well known. I mean, besides Dr. Gilbert, but I pick people like the servers in the restaurants, the waitresses. When my mom was in a nursing home, the nurses, not the nurses, but the aides, people like that, it's called listen, celebrate, and recognize. We got to listen, we got to celebrate, we got to recognize. But this is more about Gilbert than what I do. So thank you very much, Dr. Gilbert. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome. Ed Agresta, a teacher and coach from New Jersey, has been using Goya, Get Off Your Anatomy, in the classroom on the field. Ed has taught and coached for over 50 years and authored multiple leadership and inspirational books. Agresta is a fascinating, humorous speaker and a gifted communicator. More than 1,500 presentations. Wow.
You read that exactly like I wrote it. Thank you.
Ed, I don't know if you saw it there. Dr. Gilbert added underneath, Ed Agresta is America's greatest motivational speaker ever.
Well, I want to get fired up. I don't know about the greatest ever, but I went out, as soon as you sent the message out, I went to Amazon and got the book.
Beautiful.
And I just finished it. So, but when I get the other ones, when I meet Dr. Gilbert, he has to sign one of them.
Yeah. I'm gonna get them in the mail to you this week. My bulk copies came, so we'll get some more to you, and certainly thankful for all of the contributions here. It's been great.
Thank you so much for this show. And it is a show.
Yeah, you made it. You were early this morning on the email. He said, "Well, how do I get on here?"
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ed.
Rob, we'll be talking. Thank you.
Ed Agresta, everybody. Ed Agresta, man. Well, that's it, Doc. We had how many guests on here? How many total people? We were only a little behind here, but it was nice to chat with them.
Well,
let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. How do you feel?
That was overwhelming. Thank you so much for putting this together.
Yeah, it's incredible, Doc. I mean, I felt it writing the book, reading, hearing, but then to hear them talk about it, you're unbelievable.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's so flattering and it's so kind, but any contribution I made for most of these people was just 3 minutes a day, 3 minutes a day. And if something like this could happen, everybody could do. I've always been amazed. Why don't more people have things like hotlines? Yeah. Why don't more ministers have hotlines? 3 minutes. Some of these podcasts are 3 and 4 hours. I don't know, but 3 minutes. No, it's like as we talk about eating the elephant. So if anybody's ever told me that I would have a book like you wrote or a day like this, your podcast for 3 minutes a day, I'd say no. But I guess it's better to do a lot than a lot of little.
Well, you've done it, and we only had a few guests on. Some other people couldn't make it, but there's I think 15 people contributed to the book and their story. And Doc, I read the first excerpt. Here it is, friends. And again, here's another reminder about the award Lynn spoke about in the beginning of the show. But there's an award in Dr. Gilbert's honor. You can donate here. There's the link. There's the QR code. And I put the link in the chat multiple times there to donate over $55,000. That's incredible, Doc.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow. We're going to keep going. The donations in here in the book, and we're going to donate from the online sales as well quarterly through the book. So cool.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, I wanted to, before you go, Doc, the last conclusion, it's about others, right? And for all that you've done for people. You have helped so many people. How many people told stories of you gave their kid money, and you paid Tessa Murata spoke to your class, she memorized the things, she came to your class, boom, next week in the mail she gets a check for $100 and says, now you're a professional speaker because you got paid to speak. That was inspiring. That was please make me feel special today.
I don't know why more teachers don't do this. I want to be remembered. So you do memorable things. If I gave Jim's kid $10 or $1 for getting, and by the way, the part of he left out about the story, that they live on Long Beach Island, which happens to have more miniature golf courses than any place in the world. So his kid was a little impaired. So he said, you'd be pretty good at miniature golf. He's winning all these miniature golf tournaments on Long Beach Island. He shows up, kids drop out of the tournament. So he comes to my class, I say, okay, prove it. And he did. And you remember old-fashioned school buildings with the linoleum that went up and down, you know what I mean? That's what you have to go over. So you do something that's memorable and it's remembered.
Yeah, well, it is remembered now because here it is. The book is here. Dr. Gilbert and I read it on Audible. Dr. Gilbert read the foreword. Great job there, Doc. That'll be coming out soon.
I read 4 pages of foreword, and Mr. Murata read 487 pages. Last Wednesday, I went into a recording studio in Montclair for 40 minutes. He went into a recording studio for over 8 hours. As soon as I got out of the recording studio and I called him up, I said, I'm not going to be able to teach tonight. I'm wiped out. How did you ever do 287 pages?
I got a big mouth.
The second sentence, and the guy says, repeat that. You didn't say new in New Jersey right. I said, are you kidding me? I said, this is going to be a long afternoon.
Wow. Well, here it is, friends. Check it out. Again, it's coming on Audible. This has been great, Doc. I'm so happy that
I want to get the last word, and I just want to thank you. As I said before, this book is going to be in my casket. I can't say anything more than that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, well, we're grateful. You've led the way here for so many. If you are watching, we do need a favor. I want to get Dr. Gilbert on 60 Minutes. I want to get Dr. Gilbert on the Today Show. I want to get Dr. Gilbert on Good Morning America. You're a national treasure, Doc, and your story needs to be told. Your story needs to be heard. 1992, January 1992.
I want to get Dr. Gilbert. I want to get Dr. Gilbert to Subway.
Well, if you know somebody, if you know a producer, let me know. I'm going to be mailing the book to all of them, but certainly word of mouth of this. But we want to get Dr. Gilbert recognized on the national scene there, and let's help get him to one of those programs. And please reach out to me. You go to my website, andrewmurata.com. Just get in touch with me. My contact information is in the book as well. So, any last parting words, Doc?
Well, I love you, Andrew. Thank you so much for what you do for me.
Oh, man. I love you too, Doc. It's been great. I'm so happy the book is here. And there's the donation again for the award. And here's the book. And we're excited about it. I'm really excited about it. So,
when you say something like a book, you say it's good, but I have no buts. The book is perfect. The book is perfect. Thank you so much.
Dr. Gilbert and the committee, right? We had a committee.
No, there was no committee.
Well, but the idea for the picture came from the committee.
Yeah,
and that's a great picture. Yeah. Well, great, Doc. I appreciate it.
Okay,
have a great rest of your Sunday. Stay on the line a second, Doc. We are going to sign off here on the podcast, the Book Celebration Podcast. Go check it out. The Magic Acronyms, Formulas, and Impactful Stories of Leadership. And like the great Muhammad Ali says, Doc's a big fan of Muhammad Ali. Be great and do great things. You've done that, Doc. That Success Hotline is beyond great. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Leave Doc a positive comment And the link for the book is in the show. Thanks, Doc.